Greetings, Lewis, and welcome to another video. Emergency meeting, uh, the Forbidden Unlimited list for April just arrived. This will take into effect on the 22nd, which is going to be right after YCS Rally, from what it looks like. And is also going to take effect slightly right before Legacy of Destruction. I had a small hunch that this would be the case. This is exactly what happened upon the release of Photon Hypernova last year. And it did not happen for Cyber Storm Access. However, after like slightly 1 month after Cyberstorm Access, we did receive a list. So, considering it was roughly 16 weeks since the last Forbidden Limited list, we were slated to get one very, very soon, and this seems to be the case. So, let's not waste any more time. Let's go right into this. So, for Forbidden, we have Link Karibo, Baron the Floor, Burrowload Savage Dragon, and Summon Limit. Sad, I got a quarter century rare Baron the Floor, but that's neither here nor there. So, let's start with Link Karibo first. So uh, I'm going to say this because I did have a group of friends who did had their own brand list prediction, and one of them made a very bold prediction. And for the longest time, I thought it was a very reluctant prediction, but after a little bit more analyzing of the format, it kind of made a lot more sense. And basically, their prediction was that they were not going to hit the Snake-Eye Fire King deck directly. Instead, they will be hitting outliers that were being abused in the strategy, and they were making the deck as strong as it was in the format. So the thing about Link Karibo is that this was an enabler that helped the fire strategy because it was a free summon out of Snake Eye Poplar. It was an extra body that you could use to dodge like hand traps, for example, Veiler, Imperm, etc. It was a dark monster, so it kind of aided with some strategies like making Dark Charmer. Just to give you one example, it also facilitated the summon of like Heat Soul because it is a Cyber's monster. Overall, over the years, Link Karibo has just been a card that has been abused in strategies that involve level 1 monsters. It just was a natural fit for it to be like forbidden. My only issue with the banning of Link Karibo is it will not stop the initial play the Snake Eye deck does. What they're going to do is they're going to replace it with other Link ones, like for example Salamangreat Almirage and Relinquish Anima, just to give you two examples. It's kind of soon to tell. It does hurt the viability of other strategies. It does hurt the viability of just summoning the Dark Charmer without having Diabell Star. It does hurt the fact that you cannot like do battle phase tricks and do other things that are kind of imperative in your strategy. But not the biggest fan, but I understand this hit. Baron the Floor, I'll talk about it alongside Burrow Savage Dragon. Uh, so these two cards have been becoming more easier and easier to summon as of late. And just having decks and strategies that can abuse the summon out of these cards just warranted Konami to just take a safe approach and just gutting them all together. These are mostly hits for Snake Eyes more than any other strategy. However, Borderless Savage Dragon, despite it only mainly being played in that strategy, was also played in Dragon Link. Baron the Floor was way more generic. You would see Baron the Floor even in like Kashtira decks. Just to give you an example, it does make combo decks a lot weaker to Nibiru now. which I think was one of the goals that they were aiming for. It also makes their end boards a lot less oppressive in forms of negation. So it's easier for people to just cite in board breakers now. At least not very specific ones, like for example, Dark Ruler No More and Forbidden Droplet. So the last hit is Summon Limit. If you've been tuning into my channel and you've been watching like my Dueling Book adventures, you've been seeing my deck reports, you already know I'm not a big fan of Summon Limit. I have lost quite a couple games this format due to that card being present. So it just falls into the same issue as Royal Oppression, Vanity's Emptiness, Imperial Order, uh, just like Kaiser Colosseum, all those floodgate cards that are just really oppressive. The issue with Summon Limit and the reason Summon Limit was not like hit for the longest time is because Summon Limit is a card that hindered both players. But as of late, we've just gotten either strategies that can play around Summon Limit, like for example Voiceless Voice, or we just had ways that can get rid of the Summon Limit, like original Sinful Spoil Snake Eye, Diabell Star, just to like name a few examples. Forbidden Droplets itself, just giving another example. Magician Souls. So as of late, Summon Limit just has become like a very problematic floodgate. It was a card that just dictated duels by itself because not many people would predict whether or not the floodgate was like present. So overall, I'm a fan of the last hit. Limited. We have Arc Nemesis Protos, Title, Thunder Dragon Colossus, My Spectre Unicorn, Chicken Game, Anti Spell Fragrance. So I guess we'll start with Protos. Uh, Outside of Sword Soul, that card was not like super abusive. That card is legal in Master Duel and in the OCG, and despite it being a very problematic like boss monster, the strategies that will mainly play Protos are not going to be like meta contending decks, like for example Snake Eye or Voiceless Voice. Uh, the only way I can see Protos like gone from the game again is if the more meta strategies find a way to abuse it. There is an engine that can just facilitate the summon of Protos. Nemesis Flag, for example, is a monster that can tutor Protos from the deck, and that monster is searchable off Bonfire. Wait, so now we have a little bit more consistency when it comes to like getting to Protos. However, I think Konami just wants to experiment with the format. They just want to see if this is actually viable or not. Title, not to no surprise, is the last Dragon Ruler off the list. Is the weakest Dragon Ruler in my opinion. So if the other three rulers can be in the game, I don't see an issue with Title. We might see a future where they start like unlimiting the Dragon Rulers, but I guess we'll figure it out one format at a time. Thunder Dragon Colossus. Um, I am a really big fan of this card. This is a very powerful card. It's a card that really shuts down a lot of meta strategies. For example, Runic is not a playable deck under Thunder Dragon Colossus. That monster is just way too strong for that deck. Um, with the release of Light Storms coming soon, I think we might see like hybrid decks. More importantly, like or like more justifiably, like chaos strategies that will just put Colossus into their arsenal. It's very soon to tell, but for now, I can see that being the future for Colossus. Magic Spectre Unicorn. So this did not happen in Master Duel. This also did not happen in the OCG. So a lot of people were skeptical whether or not this will come off the list, but it kind of just makes a lot more sense. In Phantom Nightmare, we did receive support for Magic Specters. I think Konami in the TCG just wants that deck to actually be playable, and they know for a fact that one of the only ways possible for making it happen is like unbanning Magic Spectre Unicorn. Uh, whether or not we'll see play or whether or not we'll see Magic Spectre being played as a strategy is soon to tell. Magic Spectres is a very dangerous strategy to deal with. Just having targeting protection on all their monsters, all of them being spellcasters, means that you can play them along Secret Village, for example. So it will be one of those degenerate going first decks that you're going to be seeing like every so often. Chicken Game, I think this card is fine coming back. Like we have so many ways to get to field spells and so many ways to swap field spells. This is just another draw card. With Upstart Goblin at 3, I don't see any reason for a Chicken Game to just stay limited. I mean, stay forbidden. Anti-Spell Fragrance, I would have rather this card stay in the forbidden section. However, it is one of those cards that it doesn't do anything if you draw it like on later turns. So it is like one of those sacky one-offs. People might actually still play this. I think the main enticing thing about Anti-Spell Fragrance is if you just like play enough copies of it and you play like cards that can search for it, like for example Prosperity. Yeah. So uh, I guess I'll take the limit. Besides something else. Semi-limited. Armageddon Knight, Delicious Memory. Purely hasn't done a lot as of late. And I think with two Sleepy Memories, two Delicious Memory, I think that is enough to like let the deck roam free for a bit. This is a hidden agenda. For those who don't know, one natural oppressor to the purely strategy is the Goblin Bikers, and they debuted in Phantom Nightmare. So they, I think Konami knows that if they want Goblin Biker to be like more played in the TCG, they kind of have to like give more power to decks like purely, because it is like one of the better XYZ decks that we have in the format. Armageddon Light is already way past its prime. Like it is a strong normal summon, but there are no stronger there are no weaker normal summons in the game than Armageddon Knight that we are playing at the moment. Like Snake-Eye Ash, Centurion Primera. Um, just to give one or two examples, are just better normal summons than just like Armageddon Knight. You might see Armageddon Knight be abused sometime in the future, but with cards like Isolde in the Forbidden list, it's kind of hard to see it happening. Unlimited. Um, Malicious, Terror Top, Harper, Mobilize, Engage. I'll start with Engage. Uh, we're getting more support for Sky Strikers in Battles of Legend. So, Terminal Revenge, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to be slated for late June. If they want that deck to succeed or they want Sky Striker to sell, they pretty much just need all of their cards unlimited. And Engage is like the most important card out of that archetype. So, uh, yeah, this is a justifiable hit. Uh, Speed Rotator this was as expected. The card didn't do anything at 2, so now we're bringing it back at 3. It's a card that helps Goblin Bikers as well, so this goes back to the Goblin Biker agenda. Orcust Harper, that card also has no business being limited. I think Orcust is at full power in the OCG as well. I think they just recently unlimited Gearsu in the OCG. So it's soon to tell if Orcust can be a viable strategy, but there are no hits to the Snake Eye Fire deck, so it's very hard to tell if Orcust can actually have a place in this format. Destiny Hero Malicious, this is a very scary one. I think this is one of the most impactful cards to bring back from the list. It kind of makes a little bit less sense to have cards in the semi-limited section, because Malicious is like one of those cards that it was just gatekeeped, to be in the semi-limited section. heroes have not done a lot as of late, but the one issue that I have with malicious being unlimited is that Beatrice is still in the game, and Beatrice is an really strong card. This like in any format. So just giving you more ways to unlimit that card, like just use that card and abuse it, is a little bit more problematic than I would like it to be. So, what is my general consensus? I think the Snake Eye Fire King deck is going to adapt a little bit when it comes to like their end boards and like their strategy. I don't think that deck will stop being the best deck. I think almost every strategy in the game will not surpass it. The banning of the synchro monsters makes pure Snake Eyes a little bit less oppressive. However, I think it's only a matter of time till people just find other ways to abuse the strategy. Like, for example, we still have Appaloosa, we still have SP Little Knight, we still have IP Masquerena. Uh, with Nemesis Flag or Nemesis as an engine, you could see like Protos being added into end boards. You can also see Thunder Dragon Colossus being added into end boards. Uh, it's only a matter of time. But for now, this is going to be our format unlimited list. This probably will be our format up until the end of national season, which means both Legacy of Destruction and Infinite Forbidden would be legal alongside this list. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. This is it from me. I hope you found this informative and to your liking and understanding. Keep practicing and keep dueling.